becoming strong. So we'll probably see him coming out more. I like Silencer against Undying because Undying is so spammy. So it's a good reaction to the Undying first pick here to just put the curse on him and he'll struggle a bit. Also, not the easiest lane for Undying if he's laning against the Silencer in the setup. But more than likely, he's not going to want to do that.
10 seconds remaining.
I hate that Silencer is becoming popular. He's probably my most hated hero in all of Dota 2. I'm being plagued this CI, but we'll be seeing the Visage picked up this time around for the side of Wildcard, so that's something a bit different. I'm enjoying seeing just how varied these drafts have been so far. Like, you know, I did my research. I saw a lot of, you know, specific heroes getting picked up during, you know, last chance qualifier, and the Silencer obviously is a little bit different. The Visage, though, is something that they do play.
Yeah,
but
Visage
I'm curious how they're gonna shift things around a little bit here.
Yeah, Visage provides a lot of useful tools, and he's also pretty good at killing off the Tombstone, which is something that they struggled a bit with here. If you're looking at Primal Beast not being a right-clicker at all, having more tools to shut down the Tombstone, Visage will help a little bit with that. And there it is again, Xtreme. They just say, you know what, you lost to it in the previous game, and now you didn't ban out the Broodmother throughout your 5 bans that you had. They feel perhaps like they're being disrespected here, not getting a Broodmother ban, so they're just gonna pick it. And a Visage is not very good against Broodmother, I feel. So this is a pretty good read that Brood can work here.
Well, here's my concern is that in game number 1, they had a Sven who is typically thought to be very strong against a Broodmother because of the cleave. And they weren't able to shut down the Brood enough because it still became this huge problem. So now that, you know, you have a lineup that doesn't do well against Brood right now, currently, are you starting to panic a little bit if you're Wildcard? Because, like, you had your Sven the last game. You did have a Brood solution. And this time, you know, are you going to be able to still do that? Are you going to have to switch what you want to draft?
I'm a bit concerned. I do want to see, you know, Xtreme, they picked a Brood to get themselves more time there in the draft, but they have one more pick coming up as well. I do want to see what they're going to pair up with this Brood pick. It's going to be Lion. Okay. Yeah, last game they had all the tools to stop the Broodmother, but there was this, you know, looming threat of the Pudge just hitting creeps the entire game, really. He was just chilling and farming. And then Lina, of course, jungling quite a bit while the Brood created space. And the same thing could happen here. What if Morphling is allowed to just farm because the Brood is going to create so much chaos? Legion is a smart pick, though. Legion is good against both Morphling and Broodmother to a degree. If you have that Blink duel, you can get kills on Morphling if you're ever fast enough from Fog of War. He doesn't get the Morph out. Though, of course, he can buy the Shard now as well. But you're actually silenced during the duel, so I think that would still work.
Okay, Waga, hear me out. Because I'm looking at all these heroes here, and I'm thinking it's probably going to be Sam playing that Silencer. We've got 3 heroes that Divine Llama can play. And I'm thinking that we're going to see the South American special of maybe a Legion Commander mid for alone.
Yeah, I think this Legion is definitely in the flex territory now, where this could go a lot of different places. I'm leaning towards offlane Visage and either mid or safe lane Legion Commander with the last pick depending on what they're going to ban and what's coming up here. Is what I'm thinking. I think Primal Beast pos 4 is what I'm expecting seeing this.
That's what I'm thinking too. I feel like Divine Llama's too good on this Visage to not have him on it. But again, I feel, I don't know, in my bones, I feel like this Legion Commander most likely headed towards the mid lane. But again, on the other side, that Xtreme, they figure it's not going mid. They think, or that's gonna, you know, they still have that pick. So they ban out the Lina, they ban out the SF. The Batrider, of course, is one of the pretty highly banned heroes, but they go for the Ember over on the side of Xtreme. So
yeah,
nice mix of physical and magical damage coming out here from their draft.
Yeah, and they're going to have 2 pretty elusive heroes in both the Ember and the Morphling as their cores. So if they don't have Global Silence ready, if they don't have Duel, then I can see them struggling to catch the Ember or Morphling. They really have to get kills with their ultis in this game. And they need to have clean initiations, and that was what they struggled with in the previous game. So pressure's on again. I hope that they've reset. We'll see what they pick. last here. I would say, seeing the Ember, you can put Legion mid against that, and then come up with some carry that you still think is good against Brood, that is comfortable, because you don't really want to have a carry Legion if you can avoid it. But mid lane versus Ember, that's an easy lane actually for Legion.
The Huskar pick. Oh boy.
Yeah, okay, that's actually an even stronger lane against the Ember. Huskar against Ember is super Huskar favored, like very Huskar favored. So let's see if Alone can dominate mid lane here against Paparazzi. There's not that good rotation heroes as well in Xtreme, having a Lion and Undying. There's nothing like an Earth Spirit or a Tusk or something to come in mid to bail out this Ember Spirit. So, okay, lanes could work here for a wild card.
I honestly, I like this draft a lot better for a wild card this time around, just because you've got multiple sources of initiation and reinitiation, right? You've also got a heal online. You've got lots of options coming out from this particular draft, whereas before, there's just so much pressure on the Sven or Divine Llama. Like, they never really got the chance to figure out the dynamic between them because of the fact that the Primal Beast didn't have a clean way to initiate other than just the onslaught. So I feel like this is going to go maybe a little bit better. I'm concerned, though. They let Old 11 have his Brood again. Never give them a run back sort of thing, you know? Like, it worked for them. Why are you letting them have that? But
yeah. Also, Lou on his Morphling, he plays a mean Morphling, so a little bit worrisome seeing him get the Morph and you having, I mean, how many stuns do you have? You have the birds, you have the Primal ulti, then you have Duel, and that's it. Those are your stuns. You have Silence, of course, from the Silencer, but your lockdown is sort of limited, and Morphling against low lockdowns, if he gets that Manta style to dispel Silence, it can become problematic. So it's all about, can Lou become huge while the Brood creates space, is my question in this game.
I think the mid lane will go a little bit, I mean, hopefully it goes a little bit more favored towards Alone this time around, considering that it is a Huskar going up against an Ember. Typically, that's going to be very difficult for Ember. Again, it is Paparazzi, though, so anything can happen. This is a very, very legacied player.
They need this mid lane to not only go well, I would say they need Alone to be clearly crushing mid lane. I think he needs to do it, but he's a player capable of doing it as well. His laning stage mechanics are very, very good, and we'll see if there's going to be any form of mix-up in how they lane stuff right now, as Paparazzi is running down to bottom lane for the start. I don't think that we're going to have any switch-ups, though.
It feels like this is another tempo-based draft coming out from the side of Wildcard. Like you said, you know, you have to watch out for the Morphling. Once he picks up that Manta, it's going to be able to dispel silences. It's going to be very, very scary for the Silencer, who is going to eventually just become food to be nibbled on if he's not careful.
Yeah, being Silencer going into a fight against Undying, Broodmother, and some Morphling, like, who are you really going to go up and right-click or cast spells on? It can be a game of just running away.
So what's the tempo timing for, obviously, you know, the Morphling, the later it gets, the better off the chances are for Xtreme. They have very good, ooh, a little bit of a stun here as Alex was going to try to run through, but what are we thinking in terms of timing? When is things going to start, you know, really getting off the ground and moving for the side of Wildcard? How long do they have?
I think for them, pretty fast. I think the armlet on Huskar, and then see how much they can make happen with the armlet already. I mean, how early can they unlock Roshan and potentially control that? Because when you have Huskar in your team, you want to kill Rosh multiple times. And look at the way they lane this. They swapped it out and said, okay, Old 11, you are our offlaner, but we are going to throw you on the mid lane to deal with this Huskar, because like we mentioned, the Ember Huskar matchup super unfavorable for the Ember Spirit. So instead, throwing him to the offlane here and showing some flexibility in the team, Xtreme Gaming.
I really like this plan, honestly, because the one thing that's, you know, about a Huskar is once he gets his level 6 and, you know, certain item timings, he's gonna want to leave this lane. He's gonna want to start putting pressure down on the map. And Old 11, like we talked about, this itsy bitsy spider, and there's the first blood, bottom lane, likes to stay in her webs. She wants to be, you know, cozy and comfy, and she's gonna be able to take down your mid tower and breakneck speed if you're not careful. In fact, Old 11 just clipping away over at Alone. Alone having to pop the fairy fire. That's a little close for comfort.
Yeah, he does pop that, but Huskar also a hero that can go very low HP and then just barely not dying. If you're staying alive, then you know, that's all that counts. Doesn't matter if your HP is down to 50. That's still Huskar just being very effective, hitting even harder as you bring him down low. And I think this matchup, I want to talk a little bit more about Huskar and Broodmother, because obviously it's not a matchup that we see too often, but I think Huskar wins this one too, as he does with the Ember. And for now, 9 and 7 on CS. I think he's playing it very well.
Like I said, I saw the Legion, I got excited. I thought we were going to have the South American special, because that is something that we see very frequently in South America, is Legion going. But then with the Huskar pickup, it was definitely like, you knew that it was going mid. You knew that it was Alone playing this. So very curious to see if he's going to be able to pull out ahead this time around. He had a lot of trouble in game number 1. But on a lane dominator such as Huskar, it should be a little bit easier.
Yeah, and for now, I mean, he's positively crushing this. The Broodmother's trying to get whatever she can with just Silk and Bola for last hits, but hasn't even tried to put a point in Insatiable Hunger and get last hits. She is being bullied quite hard. Looking over to the top lane as well, we haven't really mentioned too much, but top lane Lu is getting decent farm. Visage as well, there's just a farm trade. The Undying does quite a good job protecting the Morphling though, so... Mid?
Alone wants his kill. I think he's going to get outplayed, though. In fact, he does. And PYW teleporting over just to make sure, just in case he had some tricks up his sleeve. But...
Alone with a misplay there. He didn't have his inner fire ready. His Q, he was not ready to disarm. He just walks a little bit too close under tower. I'm not even sure what happened to him there.
Dove. He dove in the mid lane. Originally.
Yeah, he definitely, yeah. I saw that much I saw. But, I'm not sure why he decided to run so close under tower instead of just playing on his cooldown, but suddenly this lane looks a little bit easier for Brood to get to level 6.
Looked like Alex was thinking about making a rotation towards the mid lane, but the second that he wasn't on the map, he saw old 11 playing a lot more conservatively. So again, just starts nibbling away over onto Huskar. Needs maybe a little bit more, and there it is. There's the revenge. But yeah, took some doing.
Gets the return kill. This time it was perhaps Broodmother getting a bit too confident, trying to turn around with lifesteal, but Huskar has so much damage, you can't lifesteal through the continuous burning spears with Insatiable Hunger level 1. So Brood is gonna go get sent back to base as well.
Pick up the items here in the mid lane. A little burst of inner fire. I feel like we're just paying so much attention here to this mid lane. Haven't really talked about the others, as Lu finds the kill on Divine Llama.
Yeah, good kill, just chasing down there. I mean, this is on the back of Undying trading his HP down all the way to try and do this. I mean, Undying died for this, but at least the Morphling is free farming.
I think it's interesting how we have such strong capabilities of tower pushing coming out for both teams. Right, you've got Divine Llama on the Visage. It's going to be able to put a lot of pressure down over on the top lane. And of course, you've got the Broodmother over in the mid lane. When she amasses, you know, the army is going to be able to chew through mid. I'm curious to see who's going to get the tower first.
Yeah, and don't sleep on Huskar as well. His tower pushing can become very strong. Once he has armlets, he can just go up and siege a tower. And if you're not defending, he pushes very fast. But certainly, there's high potential. We see moves coming in for mid again. They don't want to let this Huskar have a clean early game.
There's so many people in this mid lane. Like, look at this. You can see Lion getting into position. Undying and Primal Beast have run into each other over on the corner. And I'm sure people are calling missing. So Alone, not getting overly aggressive right now. Just wants to make sure that these cardies get cleaned up. And they'll make the jump, though, over onto DY. Fire coming out, so that's a nice quick pick off.
Yeah, Alex with all that movement speed with both boots and windlays able to stay on top of him long enough, and Huskar gets the jump to join in as well. We see the damage coming out. There's a haste rune top just chilling. They're holding it now with the Primal Beast, but maybe they want to move over and take it on Huskar and make a rotation.
Definitely feels like they're waiting patiently. Do you have the Legion, though, making their way over? Only level 5, but Gonna put the pressure over onto the mid lane. Couple clicks here coming up from below. Not gonna go for the full-on dive just yet. Old 11 hiding in the tree line, does have DY around. DY only level 2 though, so there's only so much they're gonna be able to do. As Alex with the haster, that's a big boy running at you, just running around, giving you the fancy feet.
Yeah, I love that it just charges in, just a huge primal beast. Very unlikely that he's gonna die in any way, especially having a haster in, so going in. The Llama gonna kill off that shiny courier on top. Loose courier dies before it makes it all the way.
I feel like when they introduced Primal Beast, I was like, this guy's just so cartoony ridiculous. Like, it's so hard to, like, talk about him without laughing.
Yeah, he's... I like also that they had to make him the strongest hero in the game. They lowered Centaur's strength gain just so that he would be the strongest hero in the game.
Look
he has
at him.
to be.
He's a big
He
boy.
can't look like this. Yeah, he can't look like this and not be the strongest.
I like how he's just got rock throw. It reminds me of like the old days of like, what was it? Slardar originally was just amp damage. Like just very, I don't know what we're gonna call this. Let's just do, you know, rock throw is very it's nondescript, but at the same time, literally what it is. I feel like they could have done something cooler with that. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like it's only descriptive. It's not very creative though. It's like I would name an ability. That's pretty much how all of them would be called.
What does he do? I don't know. Throws rocks? Alright, we'll call it rock throw. Come on, Waga. You can be more creative than that.
Oh, this
Top lane, Divine
items,
Llama. Pressured, they drop the tombstone. One more hit, and that's a nice kill here for Lou.
Yeah, Visage is having a very bad start, and this is concerning to me for Wildcard. Visage is a hero that has notoriously a pretty weak laning stage. You have a lot of damage in soul assumption, but his last hits in his lane usually can be quite hard as he has so little armor. And right now, Morphling is running away with quite an advantage on top lane.
Are you surprised that we're not seeing any sort of rotations up here yet from like Huskar?
I think it makes sense that he goes jungle until he finishes up the armlet. He just got it sent out now, so once he gets that, perhaps he wants to make a move top. Because I don't think they want to keep the status quo right now on top lane. I think they want to mix it up and make something happen.
This is looking like a dead Sam down here. Paparazzi just clicking away at him. Gets a little slight. And there was a silencer there, but he's there no more.
Yeah, he's going for the mana boots, probably going for the Ether Lens first item on Silencer, as he's maxing his Q and E. Gonna just be sitting far away and spamming his spells, which is probably his only hope for survival in this game, is by being far away. So, can't blame him for this being his item build.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
We have the armlet online for alone. I'm curious, they're gonna have the level 6 on Silencer very, very soon. Did they wait for this? Or are they just gonna...
I think they just go. I think you just go right now. You're already here. Play together with your primal beasts.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Yep. They just went. That's gonna open up
Divine
the
Llama
spot.
gonna be happy too. He needed this kill, and now having the birds as well, being able to pressure tower. But Alone is gonna just run jungle again, try and get some more farm going on his Huskar.
Dire's top tower.
I would like to see them, you know, take down this top tier 1 and then just start putting the pressure on in this jungle, because you know that old 11 wants to be farming it, so does Lou. Removing some of these resources around the Roche pit area just seems like a no-brainer. But do you have to be careful here? Divine Llama taking too much damage. There it is, a global silence. Oh, Lou, did he go too far? Is he in trouble? The chase is on. Alex just continuing, but a good soul rip. Gonna be able to keep him alive a little bit longer. They end up losing Divine Llama. Now Alex is tucked in a corner. He's only level 4. Paparazzi with the rotation will finish him off.
Yeah, and they are now defending top really hard. Wow.
All right,
what?
Eve. All right, that's some flexing, right? Yeah, there's the tip.
Nice. Wow, everybody was stacked up. That was a full 5-man overwhelming odds, I think.
That was sick.
And of course some spiders too. That was crazy.
Yeah, I thought for sure Lou
Okay.
was just out playing them, you know, dancing around, but did
Yeah.
not see
I
the
mean,
Legion
he
there.
was
They
in
had
this-
they had the sentry though. They had the sentry over on the side. They should have seen him.
Yeah, they should have seen that he was around, but somehow he manages to get this kill.
It's a nice kill for PYW, and that's going to be one finger of death stack for him. At 11 minutes into the game, that feels pretty gosh darn good.
Dire's middle tower has
Yeah, you're happy when you can start building that up, but right now they're probably more happy that they're pushing.
DY. Even get the tomb out too, so I feel a little reluctant to play too close to it. As PYW, he's hoping he can get a little bit of a snipe here. Catch alone with that toggle just at the right level, but
he's sitting on the tombstone. He's like, if you want to farm this tombstone, I'm gonna stun you, and then the zombie's gonna help me kill you. So Huskar is gonna respect that. Not gonna go and be too cocky here. I like the controlled play coming out from alone. As we mentioned, he can be a little bit of an impulsive player, but not gonna risk it there.
Oh, I'm sorry. It just looks ridiculous when he pulverizes people. My favorite was when he first came out. I demoed him against a Mirana, and Sagan just looks absolutely terrified being picked up and just shaken around.
I mean, I would be too. I love that sometimes when you get picked up by Primal Beast, your camera can go flying over the entire map as well. I had it happen one game I played. I got picked up by Primal Beast. My camera went all the way from mid lane down to the bottom part of the map and then up again. For every slam he did, it was disorienting. It was like I was picked up.
Well, he is the strongest of the heroes.
God, I wished I would not become a mechanic, a hero that moves your camera around when he casts spells. Just messes with you, disorients you.
That'd be some fourth wall breaking stuff right there.
Please, no.
Would you rather have that or the gambler in your game?
I take the gambler. I kind of miss him. He was fun. But, you know, perhaps not the best balance idea, but he was at least fun.
That's true.
In the end, it is Wildcard managing to come back top and taking down the tier 1, but they also lost their offlane tower, so that, along with losing their bottom tower now, they are getting put a little bit on the back foot by Xtreme already, who have, you know, opened up the side lanes, but meanwhile, Wildcard do have their mid tower at least solid.
Yeah, I think it was a really smart idea to make this shift, having Paparazzi go to the bottom lane instead of going mid against Huskar, because he's sitting very nicely in terms of net worth, and Lou as well, and that really worries me. The fact that, you know, they're coming out of laning stage and they're not behind by any means. If anything, they're pretty much ahead of them. Not by a lot. You know, the margins aren't super huge, but this is a team that, you know, you got to slow them down, especially because you are supposed to be, you know, winning this early game. You've got this tempo. You've got someone like a Huskar that should be pushing out onto the map, and it feels like they're slipping behind a little bit more and more. I don't know. Is that just me?
No, you're completely correct, and it feels like bigger advantage than 1K. Oh, they're making a move for top lane now. No tier 1 tower, so they can go right behind them.
That was just a very tidy hit and run. They buy back on the silencer, perhaps thinking that they were going to go in for more of a fight. But immediately with that buyback, Xtreme Gaming says, nope, we have no interest. We got what we came for. We got another stack over on PYW. Thank you, we're out.
Yeah, that was a nice little move. They would probably have wanted another hero than the silencer. It's not the ideal kill, but they get the kill and get out. They're farming their Morphling meanwhile, so they're happy with the way things are going. To touch back on what you mentioned, I feel like Xtreme Gaming are ahead by quite a bit here. It only says they're 1,000 gold ahead, but if you look over on the supports, it's because Undying is so poor. But you don't really care that Undying doesn't have net worth. He's just going to drop the Tombstone anyway. And if you look over to the cores, you see a bit of a difference in the net worth here. Every core on Xtreme are feeling very farmed.
Yeah, Paparazzi just completing that Maelstrom, so he's got that little bit more damage. Getting closer and closer to the Lincolns for Lou. BKB's gonna be up on the agenda here, I believe, for Paparazzi. That's his next item. So it's just starting to get harder and harder for them to do what they need to do over on the side of Wildcard. And we will have that Wraith Pack completed very soon on Old 11, so these are some pretty big items that are headed for the future for Xtreme.
Yeah, I think the Wraith Pact will be very useful for them to secure their team fighting even more. At that point, you have to kill the Wraith Pact, you have to kill the Tombstone. There are just things that you're forced to auto-attacking, and they don't have the best heroes at doing it. It's going to be difficult. Again, with Primal Beast being a hero that... I almost view this as a hero that is incapable of right-clicking, just because he's going to walk around disarming himself with a trample, and he doesn't have the time to stand still and auto-attack something like Tombstone. He does, however, have the haste rune and trample, so farming fast in the jungle with that speed.
Taking some time to, you know, dig up some things with the shovel, but the Lincolns is completed now for Morphling, so it's gonna be difficult for them to be able to lock him down,
Oh, mid.
especially with what they have. Mid lane, though. Sam? Oh, boy. Boop.
Yeah. PYW with a blink, blinking in, leading the way for this initiation. And that's going to open up the tower. And again, we see the spiders just charging in, giving vision.
Lone's got to be very careful here. With the blink on PYW, this guy is a huge threat, honestly. He's going to use the Tumbler's Toy. Mid tower will go down. DY standing over here on the side does get spotted by Alone, but again, PYW, he's here. There's a finger, but the BKB comes out from Alone just in the nick of time. Although he does end up falling here. Now Alex with the Pulverize, just trying to hold on to Old 11, trying to do anything he can to help his team out, but they will end up losing. Alex now Eve running for his life. The lockdown is there, the nuke damage is there. It is a decided victory here for Xtreme Gaming.
Yeah, chasing DY there was very greedy, and DY just stood next to the cliff like, you want to go on me? I'm dying next to a cliff? Okay, I'll put down the tombstone. Let's see how the team fight goes. And pretty predictable manner. Fighting next to a tombstone like this is very hard. Look at DY standing here. It's like, okay, go on me. He dies, but he is just dying a martyr. His team is with him, and they will avenge him. Yeah, right now it feels like Wildcard are again being forced a little bit to be on the, let's say, in the passenger seat of this game, as the Blink Dagger on Lion is allowing Xtreme Gaming to just do whatever they want on the map right now. They're making things happen, and I thought that they would hit a bigger timing with the armlets for Huskar and start making stuff manifest in the way that they needed to. When they made that gank early on top lane, for instance, I think they should have gone for the tower immediately, the tier 1 tower. They backed out. Now it feels like they're playing slower and more reaction-based Dota, which is where Morphling and Ember might just take over.
Yeah, I'm concerned about that. And one other thing that just came to mind, how much is it where you have a Huskar and a Legion where it feels like they both fulfill a very similar kind of role, if that makes any sense? Oh, Sam. Looks like he's going to survive this, though. It's going to be the global silence. They find Old 11. They're going for the duel. That's the reveal of the Blink Dagger. Old 11 is no longer going to be a threat here. A couple slights around. We'll hold Sam into place. Not quite enough to finish him off. Divine Llama keeping tabs over on DY, but feels like Paparazzi wants to go back in here.
I like what you said there briefly, that they fulfill a similar purpose. They sort of jump one target and want to burst them, especially once the Aghanim's is going to be complete on Huskar. They essentially have two duels, right? That's what the life break is going to become. It's fine to have similar heroes in that regard, but the problem is more the pacing of the game. Right now, you're heading for a late game. This game will go late game because of how it's being played fairly slowly. And that gives so much time for loot to just grow on Morphling.
Oh, Sam. Oh, my goodness. That is a hit and run and a half. 3 Finger of Death kill stacks now.
Yeah, would have been 4 if it wasn't for the BKB reaction there earlier by Alone. It was a nice dodge on the Finger of Death in the previous fight, but right now I don't see anything on the map that's threatening this Morphling, and the game that he's having with Lincolns and almost all the way to Manta style as well. He will be nigh unkillable at that point, because how do you initiate on a Lincoln's Manta Morph with this lineup? I don't think you can.
That is the problem now, that he's got that completed. And again, like we started talking about, you know, you've got these 2 duels, so to speak, right? The 2 major ways of not necessarily lockdown, but targeting. And I was almost wondering, you know, because you had the Spider Brigade begins. The fact that the Legion did not have the Blink Dagger. So you have this Huskar who can leap over long distances, but Eve has to walk there the entire time, which I feel is a bit difficult when you consider, you know, that happens, and then you've got to watch out for Lion, you've got to watch out for the Tombstone slowing you down, you got to watch out for Paparazzi, for God's sakes. He's going to be able to, you know, throw down chains. It's difficult to make this work with you have 2 heroes that are very similar in what they do.
No,
in
Sam,
fact,
not again.
Sam, they found ya.
Wow, that overwhelming odds did 600 damage to Lion, though. That hurt. Did some damage with it. No, I think it will be problematic for him. He has to blink and armlet, of course, on the Legion, but until he has BKB, it will be hard for him to close that distance without getting locked down by something. Searing Chains or, you know, Lion just seeing him. Especially Lion having the Eye of the Vizier as well. He has extra cast range. Almost as though he had an Ether Lens already as well.
That's true. That is a very powerful neutral item on some of these support heroes that need that little bit of extra range.
Yeah, sometimes it can be hard on a spellcaster hero to take it, but since Lion can just regain his mana with level 4 mana drain, he doesn't really suffer from the dropped max mana pool.
Okay, BKB is completed now for the Primal Beast. So that's a big power spike. You've got the... Oh, okay, there's a quick little hit and run. Top line, Eve.
He needed that. He needed that. He got 28 more dual damage there finally. He was not feeling too good sitting around 18 damage, but now getting up to 46.
Heaven's Halberd getting picked up on Broodmother too, which will be very good against the Huskar. He's going to have to be very aware of that.
Yeah, and Legion alike. Both of them get countered. As you said, they fulfill sort of a similar role, and they also get countered in the same way. So this Halberd will have a very easy time being useful in team fights. Just click it on any of these two.
So I feel like there's so much play around this Roche pit right now, right? So they're going to smoke up over on the side of Wildcard. I think they really would like to get this Ember that's been hanging out in the mid lane, but he's already vacated. And look at this, the Spider's just crawling on through, giving a little bit of information.
It's Alone trolling. Is this? He has a Witchblade queued up right now in his Huskar. Surely you're not gonna go for a Witchblade, right?
It could be trolling. You never know.
He had an Aghanim before. I think he's just having some fun putting stuff there. But I would love to see him buy Witchblade. Dear Lord.
Well, the way that you said that, I would say you don't want to see him pick up the Witchblade.
I mean, it would be the first one that I've seen on Huskar. I can say that for sure.
Man, I feel like Lou has not left this portion of the jungle. Like, every time I look, he's just on his own, doing his own thing. He's got another item now. He's got that Manta that we talked about. And it's a 10k net worth lead currently, which is even spookier for Wildcard, because this is where it starts to get very difficult for them to lock down the Morphling.
He's also averaging above 10 CS per minute right now, so that's a pretty good average.
Whoa! The fast fingers on Paparazzi there. My goodness. I thought for sure some kind of fight was going to break out, but now he's got the haste. And he pops the
DY
smoke.
commits the tombstone?
Huh, okay.
No,
A little bit of a
really
victory
gotta
for
find
Wildcard.
anyone.
The Vilama being held in place off to the side. Lone's just kind of poking away over here at this Roche. I'm not sure exactly what's happening. This is not a... Like, you have a Morphling hitting your base, guys. Like, what are you doing? What's happening? Alone needs to be very careful. He doesn't get smacked over there, too. And with the slides coming off of Paparazzi, this is playing with fire. Okay, the BKB get pops on Alex, just trying to push them back here as Alone's continuing to take this Roche. Do have the Morphling that's going to be joining in now. The Lincoln's being placed over at the Paparazzi. Global Signs pops with that BKB. They zip on through. They get the kill on Sam. They want more, and they want to get into, but Old 11, okay, the duel comes through. Are they going to be able to finish him off in time? They lose Old 11, and Alone does manage to get the Aegis. It's coming right back up again, and he doesn't have his team available, so he's just going to try to do some damage, but he can't deal with PYW. Gets himself his 4th finger stack, and even though they got the Roche, they end up losing quite a bit here on the side of Wildcard.
Well, they lose that fight that handedly, even though Tombstone was pretty much a non-factor, right? The Tombstone was committed early and on a cliff where there really wasn't going to be a fight anyway. And despite that, it is Xtreme that are winning the fight. Paparazzi going in with that BKB, making some big play on Ember. Alex tried to create space going in on his Primal Beasts, but it takes too long to kill Roche. So in the end, they still come in and contest it.
But they got so low on Alone there. I thought one slight was going to be enough to just rip them apart. Just get very unlucky, but don't manage to do it right away. Although they do eventually get the kill and burst the Aegis.
Yeah, that was the only thing they got there, was that they did kill Roche and they did get the Aegis, but they immediately, of course, lost the carrier and then died again after. So pretty disastrous for Wildcard. Xtreme now 13,000 gold ahead. They did take the top tower as well. during the recap there. So now with the tier 2 removed, it is only the Radiant mid tier 2 that's standing, whereas they only lost 2 tier 1s themselves.
I feel like Lou's just playing a completely different game because of the space. And we talked about this, right? We talked about how Old 11 and Paparazzi could kind of make the space for the Morphling to become that, you know, critical mass. But like it just always feels like they start fighting and then Lou just kind of wanders in. And look at this. Waveforms forward, finds Sam, BKB, fresh BKB, gets popped. Alex over the back line does have his eyes over onto BYW alone. Is forced away though, and that's not how you want to play this. Is Divine Llama trying to run, trying to get out of there, but the waveform forward from Lou. Nice stun, will be able to slow him down, but it's not enough to keep him alive.
Yeah, very optimistic attempt to TP out as well, but that's not gonna work, and they lose the Visage as well for his efforts of trying to go in and kill the Tombstone. He dies. Huskar did survive, but only because he BKB'd and ran away. But you said that Lou feels like he's playing another game and that he's just, you know, chilling and farming. Meanwhile, we haven't even mentioned it that much, but Paparazzi is 0 deaths this game. He's also completely unpressured. He's been able to get what he wanted, so this is almost a perfect game for both the POS 1 and POS 2, and I think a lot of it comes down to how they played around Lion and Broodmother on the side of Xtreme. Like, PYW has to be the MVP of this game, I think, right now, and I'm talking as though it's over, but like his impact has been insane.
I think the threat is just so scary for a lot of these heroes, you know, and the fact that he was able. Do you remember what the timing was on the Blink Dagger? It felt fairly early. Of course, he did get several finger kills, which always helps.
I didn't see exactly what minute, but he had it very early on. And the moment he had it, they went ahead and got some kills as well. It's the impact that you get.
Radiant are scanning.
Definitely seeing efficiency come out of this little Lion. But it's very, very scary, right? Because, you know, if Huskar doesn't toggle exactly right, you just have PYW jump in, throw down, you know, the finger or what have you. So you have to play so carefully. And again, it's not usually.
Look at Lou. Oh.
BKB, they turn it back around again. He wants the damage over onto Alone. DY does teleport up, does manage to go drop the Tombstone. They don't have the BKB any longer, so it looks like Lou doesn't seem to mind too much here. They do have a ward. They can see Alone over here on the side. They're thinking that they want to make something happen, especially because you've got a Broodmother who's already doing some of these clicks. Teleports coming out now from the Ember Spirit, looking to force them out of the jungle. He decides to stay, though. Stays in the bottom. Waveform forward. The hit back over onto Alex. Need to close this gap. Does end up using the Tumbler Toy, and Eve will teleport away. They see PYW. PYW trying to fight here, but there's the BKB from Alone. He's not going to be able to get locked down this time. So they do manage to turn this around a little bit, but Lou still just following forward. He's got Paparazzi nearby here. We'll go forward with the Remnant. Alex stomping around, but they've got this right-click damage, and they have the slight to take him off. Follow up, though. In comes Eve. He does have the BKB. They're going to try to duel over onto Lou, and they do manage to finally get it. The second death now for the Morphling as the chase is on Paparazzi. He's got the BKB. It does just run out now. Lincoln's will get popped to slow. They need a little bit more damage. He can't run away. He doesn't have any remnants. This is looking like a death on the Ember Spirit.
Yeah, meanwhile, the Broodmother, of course, the threat on the side lane, takes down the melee racks, but only melee racks lost, and you kill the POS 1 and POS 2. I think Wildcard, they have to be pretty happy about this. This is the most you can ask for, probably. It will mean that someone has to tend to the bottom lane from now onwards, but getting those kills was absolutely huge. And a little bit of an overextension there by Xtreme, as they were, of course, probably being told, like, oh, I'm taking barracks, just keep going, keep fighting, I'm gonna get the barracks by the Broodmother. But they did end up losing some costly hero deaths there.
I think we jinxed Paparazzi there. Like, look at this guy. He hasn't had any deaths yet. And immediately.
Oh, yeah. Caster's Curse will get you.
Mm-hmm. Still a very impressive game, though, coming out from Paparazzi.
Yeah, he's
going this
strong.
entire time without a single death.
I like Wildcard going for the tier 2 and doing some damage to it. They didn't get to close out the tier 2 top tower during the death timers here. Respecting that they're respawning, they're going to back out of that area. And right now it looks like Xtreme want to smoke up. They have a smoke ready on Undying, and everyone is TPing mid. This is going to be them going for another smoke move.
Well, I didn't know what an amused roar sounded like until now, so.
Yeah.
Right,
Phoenix
Xtreme.
Wisp and Primal Beast having a conversation, I feel like.
I mean, I know my Phoenix sounds. I know my burb sounds. You know, but the beast noises, I don't speak that fluently. Not yet, anyways.
He's a very loud character for not saying anything. He's very loud.
I mean, there's a lot of people who are very loud that don't say anything ever, so.
Alright, looks like even though Wildcard did have a good fight recently, they are now going to get completely pushed back in their base. And sort of feeling the imprisonment that is Broodmother just sending in the spiders and scouting them out.
Dire's top tower has
They have to make some moves with the duel and the Huskar ulti.
That's got to be terrifying to see all of those spider babies. Okay, they find the duel opening now for Old 11. We need to do some more damage here as, again, the run through. All right, this will be a pick off for sure. There's no Broodmother, but Lu is nearby. He's going to try giving some clicks over onto Divine Llama. And again, that burst damage is real. As they will buy back on Brood.
Oh,
DY over here gets hopped on. We'll be able to find the opening. There's the global silence. The buyback immediately now coming out from DY. Paparazzi giving some chase. We'll force the BKB out from alone. They have the Scotty over onto Lu, so they need to close the distance, but at the last second, they're able to cancel it out. The follow-up now, the chase over onto Eve. They're just throwing out as much damage as possible. The slot with the Scotty over onto Eve. They need maybe one more ahead as Sam just absolutely crumbles, and Lu is just being able to do whatever he wants. They tried to go for that grass. He'll turn back around over onto Lone, giving him the clicks, trying to burst it off, trying to do anything they can to keep him alive, but they're not going to be able to do it. They go in for a duel. We'll be able to kill PYW, but Eve will fall in the process. The buyback comes out now. And they're going to try to just recoup whatever they can here of this base, but it is so difficult. They do not have buyback on their Huskar, they don't have buyback on Primal Beast or the Silencer, and they already used some of those big ultis. I'm not sure
just
if
an
they
absolute
can force
slaughterhouse. Suddenly Xtreme just go into their base and just take down everyone right under the tier 4 towers and decide to just finish the game. They were pretty far ahead, but yeah, they're just showing that they are strong enough and they're gonna be the ones to take this game 2-0. Wildcard are not gonna be able to defend here, even though they're not tapping out yet. They're waiting, hoping for that 10 armor buff to the Ancients to hold on, maybe the Crimson Guard.
I think they're hoping. Maybe they'll get too cocky, you know? Maybe they'll fountain dive us, but no, this is Xtreme Gaming. They're gonna just focus down here as he went in for the duel. Not gonna be able to do anything though, so there it is. There's the GG, well played. And Xtreme Gaming is gonna take this series 2-0.
Yeah, Xtreme Gaming, extremely easy, I would say as well. Game 1 and Game 2 looked pretty clean in their pocket the entire time. I don't think there was any real moment when it felt like Wildcard has this, apart from maybe Game 1 at the start with them getting a lot of kills at least. But even so, they were playing very